Hello everyone, Patrick here, and today a video that is finally going to be done and it's well overdue. And it is how to set up your Raspberry Pi to become the #1 gaming console, retro gaming console, in your household using the very well developed application called RetroPie that runs off some sort of Debian OS or Linux OS, and it will fit and run on your Raspberry Pi. Now, how is this tutorial going to differ than the thousands of other tutorials? Well, I'm going to try to be as very simple and as very concise as I can without trying to talk about what can be done, but just trying to set it up and get it running and tell you how to put your ROMs that you legally own on the Raspberry Pi. So, what you will need is, of course, the Raspberry Pi. I mean, you can't really do much without it, so this is it, guys. This is the number 3. It has 4 USBs, Ethernet port, it has sound, but sound can also go through the HDMI, and micro USB over here, some more pins that, as a person who's not an expert or in any way learned in the art of well, hacking, or you know, what would you call it, hacking? Yeah, you might do. Or modifying things to get it working. You can do a lot of things with this. You can control other little application machines and sorts, so that's pretty exciting. And on the side here, we've got a micro SD slot. And that's the few things that you will need. If you notice from that, first thing you will need is, of course, the micro SD card. I've got a 32 gig card right here. It is tiny. Now, the problem you might also notice is that if you have a PC, you might not have a adapter to plug it into your computer. So what I have is actually this that came with it, and this just goes into here like so. Bloop. And now you can use it from a camera one. But again, I don't have a camera slot in mind. If you have a Mac, it should have one, unless it's one of the new ones. I'm not really sure. I know the 2013s have one, so you can use that also. But what I have is actually this right here, and it's just a USB, basically multiple memory card slot. So, put it in, and that will be ready to be plugged into your computer. Well, we'll set up the software just in a second. And the final thing you will need is, well, it's not really the final thing, but it is the main thing you need to have it to control it, and that is basically power. This is the Vive charger for the controllers. What I actually use is the USB cable from the TV USB going to the RetroPie that's actually in my TV right now, and that came off the Google Chromecast. But I've just got this one to show that you can power it with something like this, and this is only 5 volts, 1 amp, and that is basically the minimum. You can't go lower than 1 amp, otherwise you'll get issues, and even at 1 amp, you might get pop-ups saying there's something wrong with power. Don't worry about it, it will work fine, unless you're running some crazy things like calculations, computations, things like that to save somebody's, you know, the cancer things you do on the PlayStation. Folding, that's it, folding at home. So this is what you'll need if you want to run it on just a monitor, or even on the TV if your TV doesn't have a nice 5 volt, 1 amp USB plug. Most new ones should, because they expect you to plug in USB sticks and whatnot. So, let's jump into my computer and download the software and set up that memory stick. Alright, my friends, we're in Perth. It's a scorching 41 degrees today. I am overheating and in my room right now with lots of lights, but I'm going to be showing you, as you heard, how to install and set up your micro SD card to run the RetroPie. Mind you, I'm on a widescreen desktop, that is why it looks so weird. And right now my computer is 41 degrees, 42, GPU's at 39, so that's pretty good, but it's bloody hot in here. So, anywho, first thing you want to do is obviously open up Google and Google RetroPie. The address is retropie.org.uk, and here we have some examples of what it looks like. Little bits and pieces and information. If you want to have a read through that, have a look. What we're going to do is go straight to download, and we're going to not donate just yet because we want to make sure it works, and then if it works, make sure you donate, because that is definitely how it's supposed to work. So click button to download, and we're going to do the 2 to 3 depending on which RetroPie you have. It's about 581 megs. As you can see, it's going to take 30 minutes, but it won't. Well, it shouldn't. I hope not. I want to make sure that this downloads very soon. There you go. Alright, the next thing you're going to need is Rufus. Rufus is a bootable USB application that can create bootable USBs. And it's very simple, it's free, and it works a treat. All we need to do is, well, you can either download the Rufus installation or the portable version. Either one will work fine. Let's just download the installable version. Go, and we can leave these two out right now, like so. Now then, let's jump to the actual memory stick that I have in here. It is called boot because it's one of the ones I had before. It is empty right now, but what you want to do, if you already have one, is just go format, and quickly call it boot, do a quick format, and FAT32, make sure it's FAT32. It should be by default, but these settings should be correct. I would say that that would be a default allocation, it'll be fine, and it still does, I think, pretty much 64 anyway. So start. Alright, finally it has been downloaded, and let's open it up. Alright, we've got Rufus, we've got the RetroPie, and inside we will find all sorts of things like the image, which is what we need. Let's just quickly unpack it. We're going to open up Rufus. No. Alright, we've got the boot H selected, generic USB SD reader, whichever one it is, and we're going to do FAT32, default 16 kilobit, and we're going to check and choose what we're going to boot from, which is over here. Select the image, go to desktop, go all files, select the image, and start. Okay. What you might see is that if it's just an ISO and not an image, you might have to choose all files in that drop down box, but it should still work. So here we go, it is writing image, and I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, we've got it, it's done and dusted. We can now close it all and pretty much get rid of this, because unless you're redoing it again, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Alright, now we can actually boot it up and see if it all worked. Alright my friends, we've got everything done. The software is now loaded on the micro SD right here. And we've got our Raspberry Pi. We simply attach every little part. We have also our $6 controller from, well, from eBay, because that's pretty much where you get everything that's cheap and pretty bad quality. But, you know, just for shits and giggles, probably the best thing you can get, $6 USB. Let's plug that in also, just so it runs up. I've got my spare monitor, it's got HDMI, and that's what I'm going to plug in next, just simply as going like this. Everything is in. The micro SD sticks out a little bit, as you might notice, but it all should fit in. And the final thing, and it's always the last thing you should do, is actually the power. Because there's no on switch, when you plug this in, it should boot up on this monitor. So, let's see if it's as simple as it looks. We've got a bit of a boot. There it is, guys. The Pi is booting. It's going to go through basically everything, setting it all up, creating some new file systems, and then it's going to boot into the RetroPie main screen. Now remember guys, this can work not only on a monitor, but anything that has HDMI, and it will do the sound and things like that. It has detected one gamepad, and you can have pretty much 4 if you want to plug them all in. So let's hold the button to configure it. Ooh. Alright, and then you're going to go through the setting as it says here, and you're going to press each button corresponding to what it says. So I'm going to try and follow it through right now. So I don't have X and Y. All you have to do, if you don't have the button, just hold another button to not define it and skip it. Unfortunately, this keypad, or this gamepad, does not have many buttons. So we're back in the menu now. This is where you will see your actual games and ROMs. When you flick left and right, you will see your ROMs like I showed in the video previously. There's no ROMs on here currently, so that's why you won't be able to see it. You don't have to install the emulators. They will show up if you need them. You can go into the settings of the RetroPie and flick through things like Bluetooth, themes, file manager, which is where you'd probably be sorting out your legally attained ROMs. You can change some IPs, you can connect it to the internet. Because it has Wi-Fi, you can do it through there, and this is where you can do it all from here. A and B is your back and forth, and with this controller you can play all the classic SNES games, NES games even. NES mostly, SNES works on here too, Nintendo 64, and even Tekken 6, even though it lags through the PSP emulator. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Catch you guys later. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Thumbs up if you didn't. Let me know why. Let me know if I missed anything. This was a very simple setup on how to get it up and running. After that, you're going to have to figure it out yourself on how to get those ROMs and put them on. It's not too hard, you just SSH into it. And if you need a video like that, I will try and create one. But this is how to set up the RetroPie on the Raspberry Pi 3. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you another time.